Dukes and Bell Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. We're going to talk to Shaquille O'Neal, our buddy Roddy White. We're going to talk to Sheriff Scandrett coming up here in just a few minutes. We brought up the fact that it looks like now that the NBA season is officially over with the NBA championship being done, there's going to be some movement. And, you know, this idea that Zion could be on the trading block, I want him. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. And, Mike, some of the responses that we're getting, it's interesting. One guy hit us up, and I just hit him back, because he was saying, man, we got to get Jaylen Brown back to town. And I'm thinking Jaylen Brown over Zion?
Well, Jaylen Brown, he wants to be number one. He doesn't want to be in Jason Tatum's shadow. How's that going to play with Trae? Does he make you a better than where we're at? I mean, does he play more defense? Zion doesn't play any defense. And Jaylen Brown, like, I don't want to get in that prisoner of the moment. The fact he had a really kind of mediocre playoff, especially those last few games against Miami. It wasn't great. But, and I know there's a lot of folks here who love the idea of bringing him back to town. It's interesting, but here's the other thing, guys. To get him, you got to give the Celtics things like Trae. They don't want a guy like when you were on vacation. Steak and I were chopping this up. We don't have enough to get him from Boston. You'd have to lose Trae, which defeats the whole purpose of them in the first place.
Why are you trading a 1 for a 2? Why? It makes no sense. Add to what you have by acquiring talent that makes you better. How does Zion make Trae better? And I just was talking about this with the guy on our social media page. Because he was saying, I don't think he makes him better. Listen, you love the alley-oop from Trae to JC. Imagine that to Zion. Zion's pick and roll game is better, and his mid-range jumper is better. His ability to finish around the basket is better. I mean, he helps Trae in so many other ways. So you talk about complimenting your stars, Mike. The whole Jaylen Brown, I love Jaylen Brown. I know he's a Wheeler High School guy. They put out NBA guys every time I turn around. But the fact is, just getting him home to have him home, how does he complement your star and how does he make him better versus, well, Jaylen Brown's from here and we just want him here because he's an Atlanta dude. I mean, come on. We got to – how do you make the team better and you say this is where we need to be better? You know where we need to be better? Rebounding.
Right.
Zion does that.
And for what it's worth, now, again, he's not taking many three-point shots, but his percentage is the same as John Collins when he does. John's 35, he's 34. So just throw it out there.
All right.
That's not why he'd be here. But some guys would argue that Zion can't create his own shot, that you need traded. But again, you just said he'll be playing above the rim. And last time I checked, a lot of guys like above the rim kind of action here in Atlanta.
I don't know. You guys going to need to go watch the highlights. What are you talking about not creating his own shot? He goes to the rim, and people are getting out of the way. He's a big guy.
Yeah, but there's risk involved. And Jaylen Brown's going to cost $60 million. How much? $50 million, right? That, either way, the one common piece of this conversation that keeps cropping up is we got to get Tony Wrestler to spend on a luxury tax loot, because otherwise the point is moot.
It is. Let's talk to our man, Shaquille O'Neal. Sheriff Scandrett is on the line as well as Roddy White.
Roddy White?
Yeah, man. It's going down the third annual ride for Unity and the second annual Sports Spectacular. And these guys are all involved. Shaq, I want to start first, man. NBA Finals finished up. And I'm curious to know, like, what your thoughts are of Joker, because we had this conversation. He's not in my top 5. It's you and Russ and Wilt and Dream and Kareem, but he's a hell of a player. What do you think about him now that he's accomplished this feat?
I mean, he put up great numbers. The first center since myself to get MVP 20 years. So congratulations to him and his family. Listen, he played good, solid, big man basketball. I have nothing negative to say about him. He played great. He accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, and he did it the right and respectful way. Kudos to the Joker. He's now a part of the Big Man Alliance, which I am still in charge of.
And we got Roddy White on the horn. Roddy, man, would you like to play with this Falcons team? It looks like, man, this team could be really exciting this year.
Roddy had to jump off. He had to go to the hospital for an issue with the family.
All right, Sheriff, what do you think? I'll ask you, Sheriff, do you think the Falcons are going to be fun to watch this year?
I do. I see they changed some tremendous things with their defense. They've addressed some of the things that the fans have been wanting to see for years. And we are ecstatic about that. We're all positioned and ready to go for the first game.
Henry County Sheriff.
Coach could be our pregame host. Listen to that rap.
Man, well, here's what's funny. I know what y'all talk about around the office, don't you? I know what y'all are chopping up around the office. Henry County Sheriff Reginald Scandrett here with Shaquille O'Neal as well. So, fellas, tell us about this. June 20th is the event, right?
17th.
17th. Okay, June 17th. And people can register already. Tell us about it.
So June the 17th, we kick off what we call our community/unity. weekend, and we started off with a ride for unity on June the 17th, and we will start at Warren Holder Park, which is 301 Club Drive. Kickstands up are at 10 o'clock, and we'll be riding to Unity Park, which is that's in Village Park / Unity Park, 750 Fairview Road in Ellenwood, Georgia. Last year we had over 600 bikes to ride, and the purpose is to bring together law enforcement and the community, and to have conversations with someone that is different than you, that thinks different than you, believes different than you, so that we can start to calm the waters in the relationships relative to the community and law enforcement.
And, of course, guys, Shaq has been involved in law enforcement everywhere he lives. And, Shaq, how often you get out there, man? Any chance when I'm driving my red Corvette you're going to pull me over one day?
No, I am the director of the community relations. It's my responsibility to, bring the police and law enforcement back together. Sheriff has done a wonderful job. We do a lot of community things. We visit. I don't like saying this word. Well, I'm not going to say old people. We visit the elderly people during Valentine's Day. We sit down with them. We bring them flowers. We bring them gifts. We visit hospitals. We visit schools. We talk to juveniles. And it's just part of my job. So we understand, and I think you understand this. There's four things, and no matter what religion, what race, what color you are, four things that people always like. There's sports, there's music, there's cars, and there's bikes. So this is our third annual. Last year, I think, Sheriff, correct me if I'm wrong, we had over 6,000 bikes. So this year, we know everybody's going to come out and we just ride, and we just have a good time. We encourage you to shake somebody's hand that doesn't look like you, get to know people, create new friends, and, just have a good time. And, we're all about keeping our community safe, but keeping everybody happy.
Wow.
And Sheriff has open door policy. People can come talk to him. We've had people bring their kids in, and Sheriff and I, give a young man a heart-to-heart. And, we have a couple of people straighten up from, those issues.
Well, you're helping the community. Fellas, you know that. Shaq, you've done this. And Sheriff, you're doing an amazing job down there in Henry County. It's Dukes and Bell Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Shaq, man, you won a chip in Miami. You played for Eric Spoelstra. I'm just curious to know what you thought about Spo, man. He rarely gets talked about. I know they didn't win it, but he's been down there for like 14, 15 years now, and he continues to reinvent, himself with different teams. When he had you and Wade, you guys won the chip. But talk about him just a little bit.
Well, actually, he was an assistant coach. Pat Riley was the coach.
Right.
And, we all know about the Hall of Fame Pat Riley, but Pat created a culture, and Eric Spoelstra has been consistent with that culture. And listen, it's all about, team mentality, 15 strong, and, they had a lot of great players, and, they did it the right way. When you go up a guy as great as the Joker, it's kind of hard to stop a guy like that. And can't leave Jamal Murray out and all the other guys. Denver really wanted it. They played well. And Miami, they were missing a few players, but they made it to the chip. They beat Milwaukee. They beat Boston. They had a great year. He's definitely a Hall of Fame coach. But kudos to the Denver Nuggets.
Shaq, we say it every time we're on. You guys on TNT, nobody does it better. Nobody's more fun and natural than you guys in studio. And you've been a supporter of the Hawks. So what do you think? What do we have to do, and what can we do to make this team better this year?
You need one more superstar. You need about 3 more shooters along with Trae. And you need a couple of that's the dog sound. You need about 3 dogs on that team.
Well, I don't disagree with you, big fella. I mean, I agree with you. Where are we going to find these dogs? Let me ask you this. We were talking about this. I want to get your opinion. And Sheriff Scandriff, I want to get your thoughts on this, too. We were talking about Zion. Zion, apparently, there may be trade rumors out there. Shaq, I don't know what you think about Zion. People talk about, hey, he's got to get in shape. His weight is going to be an issue and all this stuff. But I'm like, I'm willing to take a chance on somebody like that because it changes the complexity of your team. I don't know if he's a dog, like you just said, but I think he's a better player maybe than some of the guys that we currently have. What's your take on Zion? And, Sheriff, I want your answer on this, too. How do you feel about he's played only 114 games, guys, since 2019?
Yeah, I think he's a great player. I think he has great potential. But sometimes when you're young, you have to sit down and really say to yourself, what do I want to become? So, for example, as a youngster, I was always compared to the greats. So that was just sort of the pressure for me to live up to. And when I decided I wanted it, that's when I became great. Everybody knows my story, movies, music. I wasn't really truly focused. But once I sat down and said, okay, focus, then I became a great player. So once he sits down and focuses, I'm not going to talk about all his personal stuff because that would make me a hypocrite. We all have personal stuff, so I'm just going to keep it basketball. Once he sits down, gets in better shape and really trains on basketball and commits to being one of the best players, I think, the sky is the limit for him.
Sheriff, same question, man, because we know you're a sports fan. What do you think, man? What would you do with this Hawks team?
Regardless of the talent of the person, with respect to Zion, you never want to invest in a guy that is consistently inconsistent. And I think when we will roll the dice, certainly someone I don't think that the Hawks need right now. Certainly we need someone that is consistent, that will help us throughout the season, but particularly in postseason play. And Zion is a tremendous talent, but he has not shown the strong word of being consistent, which is what we need here with the Atlanta Hawks.
I know who's winning those arguments in the office, man. I just know. I can hear you right now. He's too inconsistent.
I'm with you. Yeah, and by the way, and Trae, we debate Trae all the time. I felt Trae, and Shaq, you can jump in on this too. I thought Trae kind of turned a corner with Quinn Snyder this year, getting him back to what he was in 21, that superstar stuff.
Yeah, Trae, listen, I love Trae. I love the way he plays. You have to realize when all eyes on you have to do everything right. And I think Trae's, sometimes he's looked at it in a wrong light, but I've met him. I know his father. They're great kids. And a lot of times when you want to win and everybody's not on the same page, it can cause some friction. But I think he's a great kid. I think he's a great competitor. Just need to put some people around him. If you put more to him, DeJounte, a couple more shooters, a couple more big bodies, and they just get consistency of playing together and learning each other, I think they could be very successful.
Diesel, you going on tour, man? Where you headed? I know you're doing the Diesel thing.
Yeah, I'm on tour. I'll be home next weekend for the Unity Ride. That's my first stop. And then we got the youth basketball football camp. Sheriff, myself, Roddy, Otis Nixon. We're going to do that, and then I'll be, flying in and out.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar, Shaq DJing, it's something he enjoys and does, and he posts stuff all the time about these events and parties, man. It's crazy, and I say that. These are really like festivals and stuff. All right, Sheriff, one more time. Sheriff Scandriff, tell us again how people can register. Give us the date, because people are already hitting us up. Dukes and Bell, how do I get involved, man? What do I have to do? Tell us again.
Sounds good. Well, to register, go into ACSO.org. Henry County Sheriff's Office Foundation.org. All the information is there with respect to the Unity Ride, which is this Saturday, and next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is the Sports Spectacular with Shaquille, Roddy, and Otis Nixon, respectively.
Cool. Great stuff. Shaq, thank you again. Sheriff Scandriff, thank you guys. Tell Roddy we hope everything's cool with that, but folks will see him out there for the ride as well. We appreciate the time, fellas. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Cool, man. Put the link up at Mike Bell, ATL. Carl's going to put it up there, too. You can also go. It's pretty simple, guys. I think it's Safe Henry County, and you can get all the details. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I like the fact that they're trying to, get people together. I heard what he said. He said, people that don't think like you, don't look like you, shake somebody else's hand and have a conversation. I think we need to do more of that, Mike. I'm all for it, man.